task force.
I give a call to the honourable member for Warringah.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise on behalf of the crossbench as its representative on the Leadership Task Force, and I welcome the motion today in respect to the Code of Conduct for Parliamentarians. The annual statement into the progress on the implementation of the Set the Standard report is an important milestone, but one that we should not be complacent on because there is still so much work to do. The Code of Conduct for Parliamentarians today is an important progress and step, something I've been calling for and many others in this place. I was astounded that such a code did not exist, whereas in my varied career from sports to law and so many other workplaces, I was always expected to agree to a code of conduct, and so many others in workplaces are. I'd like to thank the members of the Joint Select Committee on Parliamentary Standards, and in particular my independent colleague, Carly Tink, the member for North Sydney, who I know has been passionate about establishing the Code of Conduct for Parliamentarians and behaviour standards for Commonwealth parliamentary workplaces. The Code of Conduct and behaviour standards will be binding on all, parliamentarians, staff and any parliamentary work environment, and there will be consequences for breaches. The draft behaviour standards and codes requires us to act respectfully, professionally and with integrity, to encourage and value diverse perspectives and recognise the importance of a free exchange of ideas, to recognise your power, influence and authority and to not abuse them, to uphold laws that support safe and respectful workplaces, including anti-discrimination, employment, work health and safety and criminal laws. And bullying, harassment, sexual harassment or assault or discrimination in any form, including on the grounds of race, age, sex, sexuality, gender identity, disability or religion will not be tolerated, condoned or ignored, and breaches of this will be actioned. In relation to the Set the Standard report, it was such a milestone in the history of this place to first record and identify the systemic and the vast problem we had in this place in relation to our workplace standards, and the incredible work of Kate Jenkins in the Set the Standard report and putting forward so many important recommendations. As has been said today, we have had significant progress. 6 recommendations have been implemented, 4 partially, 17 are in progress and 1 in pending. But what's important to recognise is that these are ongoing measures. We must constantly remain vigilant and work on it. There's a lot of work to do. Most significantly, the establishment of the Parliamentary Workplace Support Service will be a huge change to the way in which employment of staff is managed. And I also note and welcome the review of into the MOPS Act, which was a recommendation and governs all employment in parliamentary workplaces. I specifically note its recommendation 3, which called for a review of the principles to be considered by the Prime Minister in determining staffing allocations and a further review into the workloads of staff, particularly electorate office staff. And I take this opportunity to thank so many dedicated and committed staff around the country who work passionately and tirelessly on behalf of all of us and our communities. I look forward to the Prime Minister updating the Parliament on this recommendation 3 and review. This year should also see the establishment of a staff consultative body to inform the work of Parliamentary Leadership Task Force and the implementation of the Set the Standards recommendations. Ultimately, this reform is aimed at improving the experience and conditions of staff working in support of parliamentarians. It will be a mechanism through which staff can regularly provide feedback on progress, the implementation and the effect of the recommendations. Because let's be real, ultimately if they're not improving the workplace and the standards, then they are not working. Staff will need to have that access. As a member of the task force charged with implementing the 28 recommendations of this vital review, I thank Kerry Hartland, who was chairing the task force until December, and I look forward to working with the new chair and all staff involved who have been incredibly dedicated and committed to making this a safer workplace. I reiterate my commitment to ensuring that all 28 recommendations be implemented in full. We have a responsibility in this place to ensure a safe and respectful Commonwealth workplace and to set the standard for all workplaces. It's incredibly important, especially as we had an International Women's Day breakfast today, to remember respectful conduct in relation to all in this place. And I note the comments of the Leader of the Opposition, and I can assure him that all women of the crossbench, and I'm sure members of government and Labor, have also received a revolting amount of vitriol and abuse online. And this is abhorrent and unacceptable, regardless of political allegiance or views. And it's beholden on leaders, such as the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, to set the standard of tone and respect that is required. Thank you.